So far, none of the 5 episodes of Moon Knight was disappointing, but some drew hard on sheer coincidence to solve problems, and with only 1 episode to go, the worry arose that the last chapter may be too rushed to bring the series to a proper conclusion. Hi there, it's Micha. Join me as I will let you know if these worries were warranted. Episode 6, titled Gods and Monsters, continues in the real world, with Harrow honoring the falling Marc in his way by placing the scarab on his chest as some kind of prize, which conveniently allows the hidden Layla to pick it up and use to pursue Ahmed's Ushabti, the small stone statue imprisoning her. Just as she plans to attack Harrow, Tavaret, the hippopotamus-shaped goddess, possesses a dead body to stop Layla, as she alone can take on the adversary and to tell her that Marc still can return to the world of the living if she breaks Khonshu's Ushabti. She also asks Layla to allow her in as her avatar, an offer that Layla friendly but firmly rejects. After forcing his way into the Great Pyramid, Harrow kills off most of the other gods' avatars and smashes Ahmed's Ushabti, freeing the crocodile goddess, while Layla gets her hand on Khonshu's stone prison. Released, the moon god doesn't feel Marc in this world, so he tries to talk Layla into being his avatar. This she also rejects, even firmer, though less friendly. Therefore, Khonshu faces Ahmed himself, both in their original forms, which apparently can only properly manifest in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Meanwhile, though she shared with Layla that Marc can return, Tavaret has apparently forgotten about it, as she led Marc to the Field of Reeds, where he could spend eternity in peace, now that his heart is in balance after Marc perished in the sands. Apparently having 2 hearts on the scale before created the imbalance, but after they survived together, Marc is not willing to leave Stephen behind. He returns to the petrified Stephen, laying his own heart in Stephen's hand, literally sharing a heart, instead of having 2 hearts fighting for dominance. This brings Stephen back to life, and together with Tavaret's assistance, they pass through the gate of the underworld back into the world of the living. Khonshu, in his real form no match for Ahmed and losing the fight, immediately senses Marc's return and rushes toward him. Now that Marc and Stephen are working hand in hand, this changes the original contract and allows them to renegotiate the deal with Khonshu, who has to promise them to release them both once Ahmed is defeated. Something to which Khonshu rather quickly agrees to. In the pyramid, the last remaining avatar of the gods reveals to Layla that Ahmed can only be stopped if they imprison her while she is in her mortal form, which can only be done with the help of more avatars. And then he dies. Taking Tavaret up on her offer, Layla allows her in, on a voluntary and temporary basis, which turns her into a kick-ass superhero with a cool costume. Together, she and Marc take on Harrow, while Ahmed and Khonshu, still in the vicinity of a pyramid, fight it out between them. Marc and Stephen sharing a heart now allows them to effortlessly switch between personalities, bringing in the best suited one of them for every given situation. And now that Stephen, defending Marc in the last episode, also found his courage, even his gentleman alter ego, Mr. Knight, now manages to kick ass while fighting. However, Harrow and his henchmen manages to overpower them both. Just as Marc was about to get killed, he blacks out, and when he comes to, Harrow is unconscious and his men are all dead. While a shocked Layla asks, "What the hell was that?" which neither Stephen nor Marc can answer. Back in the pyramid, they use a spell to bind Ahmed to Harrow's body, but Marc is not willing to follow Khonshu's order to end their life, as the argument that otherwise Ahmed will kill again sounded too much like Ahmed's rationale to Marc. So he tells the moon god to kill the bound goddess himself and to release them from their servitude, which lands Marc back in the psychiatric hospital ward. Noticing that his therapist leaves bloody footprints behind, just like the real hero, Marc can with certainty retire this false reality as an illusion. Marc, with Steven on board, then awakes in Steven's London apartment and falls one last time flat on his face due to the usual shackles Steven put on his feet when he sleeps. Here, the end credits set in. The series' only mid-credit sequence reveals that Harrow is now in a psych ward himself, where someone kidnaps him and places him in a limousine, vis-a-vis Khonshu. While Harrow points out that the god cannot kill him, or assumedly still them, himself, Khonshu reveals a third identity of Marc, named Jake Lockley, who kills Harrow point blank. Well, apparently this is the reason why Khonshu lets Marc and Steven go so easily, as there was a third personality still bound to the god. The one that only emerges when both of them black out, the one that shocks them and everyone around them with his violence. So as Harrow asks Khonshu if he tries to get him back as his avatar, he just says, why would he ever need someone else in his service than Jack Lockley? This end is an interesting setup for future appearances of the characters, or another season of the show, as this currently would mean that Marc and Steven live their waking life together while still being plagued by blackouts when Jake takes over, unaware of the fact that they are still Khonshu's avatar. I like that they didn't leave the Steven personality for dead, with his scales now in balance suggesting some kind of healing by getting rid of him. This would have been a cheap twist, devaluing Steven's story arc, but also oversimplifying the characteristics of DID, the dissociative identity disorder. Not only did Marc embrace this different part of himself, which helped him through some dark times in his life, he is now willingly sharing his heart, while keeping the scales in balance, opening up his world to utilizing the best of them both in any given situation. The episode also had some moments though in which I thought, wow, how convenient is this, where the screenplay stretched circumstances to the point where it felt constructed. Like Harrow placing the Scarabaeus on Marc's dead body, allowing Layla to track them. Or she being tasked with smashing Khonshu's Ushabti just hanging around Harrow, whose path coincidentally leads them to the very place she has to go. Both was somehow justified by the screenplay, but these surprisingly random solutions to problems could be conceived by us, the viewer, as quite apparently constructed. A great idea though was to make Layla a temporary avatar for Teverit, resulting in some kick-ass action sequences, but also my favorite moment in the show, when Layla is asked by a little local girl, happy to see someone saving her who shares her ethnicity, This also hopefully means that this temporary arrangement will continue more permanently, or on a case-by-case basis. Would be a shame if she will not keep this door open. By the end of the episode, my mind was actually so focused on those convenient resolves that I almost thought the scene in which Layla and Marc cast the spell to bind Ahmed to Harrow's body would fall into the same category. I thought, wow, they both know the exact spell they need for that? How handy is this? Of course, there was a proper explanation, as they both were acting as avatars in that moment, channeling their respective god. Good thing they never really explained how channeling their deities actually works, so that questions like this need no answer. Same goes for my biggest question this week. If all the gods use avatars and they are all able to channel their power, though apparently never to interfere with human affairs, how could Harrow kill them all in an instant? Wouldn't they at least try to protect themselves from dying, utilizing their power then? And even if they don't, being an avatar comes with healing powers, as shown by the Moon Knight. Why was the last remaining avatar hurt but didn't heal? Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And if the gods can only manifest in the Great Pyramid, why didn't they do that? And why, after their avatars were killed, did the real gods not show up, duking it out? Damn, now thinking about it, there were some gaps in logic there, but overall, I was still quite happy with the series conclusion. Then again, some weird questions were raised by the mid-credit sequence. Why was the vanity license plate saying Spectre, when the character using the limousine was Jack Lockley? Is Marc rich? And they never mentioned that? Or did he become rich between the end of the show a few seconds earlier and now? And why did Khonshu, who protects the innocent and only punishes the evil, allow Lockley to kill the hospital staff, very likely innocent, when he kidnapped Harrow? I guess we will find out when the characters show up next, whenever and wherever this will be. Before we get to the rating, please like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far, and if you are not a subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. If you also hit the notification bell, YouTube will give you a heads up when I post a new video. Now for the rating. One thing can be said for sure, my worries that the finale would have to rush things too much did not become reality. Sure, as mentioned, some things felt convenient and sped things up, but everything got pretty much wrapped up in a satisfying way. They even resolved the question around the hospital, which obviously and expectedly turned out to just exist in his mind. A place I still believe to be the nexus where his different personalities can meet. So are there more than the 3 we already know? They also resolved, kind of, that the third sarcophagus held Jake Lockley, so there was not a piece of Khonshu in there as I thought. There were some things that bothered me, some things that felt too conveniently placed, and some issues left unexplained, but mostly I remember the payoff. The positive developments, like Marc and Steven sharing a heart, and Layla becoming an Egyptian superhero, which both had me teared up a bit with joy. So sure, the episode was not perfect, but definitely great. Caught in the middle, this translates into 8.5 out of 10 points. What are your thoughts about this final chapter? Did you enjoy it? Or were you underwhelmed? Let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching.